The film begins with a series of newspaper clippings about a bank robbery where hostages were taken, and the police had a standoff with the robbers for several days. The last clipping shows a masked man holding a lighter. The scene shifts to a cloud of smoke rising from a building as firetrucks race by. In another scene, assistant bank manager Ed is in a break room, seeing quick flashes of disturbing images, including the masked man from earlier and other people with bloody bags over their heads. Ed looks very distressed. In the main lobby, a man enters the bank, and a policeman lets him in. The man goes to the coffee station, adds liquor to his coffee, and talks to the teller. He asks her out for drinks, but she tells him he's already been drinking. The policeman calls him detective, and the man tells the cop to keep people away from the fire nearby. Elsewhere, a young woman named Leah is applying for a teller job. The bank manager explains that many tellers have quit after seeing spooky things in the basement. Leah still wants the job despite his warning. Meanwhile, a woman named V argues with a teller over some bounced checks, becoming increasingly angry. The police officer and security guard approach, but the officer is distracted by firefighters entering the bank. When V refuses to calm down, the security guard tries to arrest her. She fights back with brass knuckles, and the police officer calls for backup. Just then, Leah pulls out a shotgun and holds the manager hostage, while one of the firefighters knocks out the police officer. It is revealed that Leah, V, and three men disguised as firefighters Kramer, Michael, and Cyrus are actually robbing the bank. They take hostages and force the head teller, Susan, to open the vault. However, they find very little money, only $70,000, far less than their target of $500,000. Some members of the crew want to leave with what they have, but others insist they need more money. Ed, now a hostage, tells the robbers that he knows where there is more money. He promises to help them if they don't hurt anyone. The robbers agree, and Ed reveals that an old vault in the basement holds over $6 million. Excited, Kramer goes to drill into the basement vault. Leah and Cyrus stay with Ed, while Michael stays with the hostages in the main vault. V stays in the lobby. As Kramer drills, the lights flicker. He sees two strange silhouettes in the hallway but dismisses them as crew members. However, the figures multiply, and soon there are many of them, staring at him. The radio goes dead when V tries to contact Kramer, and then the masked man from earlier appears. Kramer screams and falls into the vault, disappearing from sight. V tries to reach the basement but is locked out, while Cyrus goes to the vault to check on the hostages. He begins counting them, only to see that some of the hostages have bloody, dirty bags over their heads, looking like skulls. The masked man is standing behind them. As the vault door slowly closes, Cyrus fights the ghostly hostages, only to be killed by the masked man. Meanwhile, Michael hears Kramer scream and finds him in the vault with his eyes gouged out. Kramer is still breathing but then kills himself with a drill. Michael runs away in terror. Back in the security office, Leah questions Ed, who claims he has no idea what's happening. Suddenly, the phone rings. Leah answers and hears Detective Tom, who demands to speak with her. Realizing the police know about the robbery, Leah hangs up. She then accuses Susan of contacting the police, but Susan denies it. She reveals that the masked man is the same robber from a 1982 heist, where many hostages were killed. The police never found the masked man, and Susan believes he is still in the basement. Leah doesn't believe Susan's story, and she threatens to electrocute her. Michael intervenes, disappointed in Leah. V then returns from the basement with a duffel bag full of cash, but Leah notices the bills are from 1982, the year of the earlier robbery. V dismisses this, saying Leah is losing her mind, and the two argue. Suddenly, a window shatters, and Leah and V think the police are shooting at them. Michael returns to the basement, where he hears a woman calling for help. He follows the voice and finds a woman claiming to have a broken ankle. When he turns away, she becomes a rotting corpse and attacks him. Back in the manager's office, Leah answers the phone again and hears a static-filled voice complaining about a robbery at the bank. Susan asks if Leah heard it, and Leah becomes more convinced that something supernatural is happening. V searches for Michael in the basement. She finds Cyrus's body, and later, Michael, who is acting strangely and pouring gasoline everywhere. V begs him to escape with her, but he tells her to leave without him. V returns to the vault and sees Michael lighting Molotov cocktails. Ed, who has been strangely calm throughout the chaos, tells Leah that the police will soon arrive. Leah cuts Ed free, gives him a knife, and tells him to release the hostages. She grabs the duffel bag of cash and heads to the basement. There, Michael is still setting fire to everything, but Leah doesn't listen to his warnings and runs toward the vault. She's almost trapped inside, but Michael helps her escape just in time. They flee, with Michael throwing Molotov cocktails behind them. Eventually, he falls behind, and Leah reaches the escape pipe. Leah calls for Michael, but instead hears a song playing from the distance. The masked man and the ghosts appear, with Michael following behind them. Realizing they will kill her, Michael sets off a gas line and blows up the ghosts just as Leah enters the pipe. The next scene shows Leah driving down a road with the radio reporting that all the robbers are believed to be dead. She stops the car, and V appears. V angrily demands the money, and Leah throws the duffel bag at her feet, explaining that Michael died. Leah asks V if she saw the ghosts too, but V doesn't know what she saw. Leah then realizes she might have been crazy. In a police interrogation room, Detective Tom questions the hostages. They all deny knowing Ed, even though he claimed to be the assistant bank manager. When Susan recognizes Ed's picture, the detective tells her it's impossible because Ed was one of the original victims from the 1982 robbery. Susan realizes that Ed was a ghost, and that's how he knew about the basement vault. The film ends with Ed in the break room again. This time, he hears screams and gunshots, and calls the police, which is the same call Leah heard during the robbery. At the meetup point, Leah's car breaks down, and V checks the engine. The radio suddenly turns on, playing the same song from earlier. When V drops the hood, Leah sees the masked man behind her. He snaps V's neck, and the credits roll.